So you decided to host a pancake breakfast to raise money, but you got a problem. It says you need 3 cups of this for every 2 cups of this to make 20 pancakes. The problem is you got like 418 cups of this stuff. How much milk are you gonna need to make all those pancakes? If you haven't figured it out yet, we're talking about proportions. I'm Mr. Boyle. Are you ready? Okay, well, welcome to class, kids. Let's kind of get right into it because I don't want this video to be too long. What is a ratio? What's a proportion? And how do you solve a basic proportion? So first of all, I'm going to put a couple definitions up here on the board for you. I'll leave this one right up there. A ratio is really nothing more than a comparison of 2 numbers, okay? For example, here's a real life example. Let's say you have a recipe for whatever, and for this particular recipe, every 3 pounds of ground beef you use, you need to also add 2 cups of water. That's a ratio. 3 pounds of beef, 2 cups of water. Okay? Now, in math, we're probably going to simplify that a little bit. We could write it as a fraction. Looks like a fraction. This is how you write a ratio. But we're going to make it even simpler. We don't need the actual words there. So we could just write that ratio as 3/2, but you don't say it that way, the ratio. You would say 3:2. So this would be 3:2. There you go. Okay. Now this is fine. As long as you have 3 pounds of beef, you know you need 2 cups of water. But let's say this whole quarantine stuff is over. It's summertime. You're having a block party, and you've decided you're going to do the cooking. So you're going to cook for everybody, and it turns out you need more than 3 pounds of ground beef. It turns out you're going to need 105 pounds of ground beef. Now the question is very simple. How much water are you going to need for 105 pounds of ground beef? This is where we need what's called a proportion. So here's our next definition. Proportion. 2 ratios of equal. What do we know? We know that every 3 pounds is 2 cups, but we need 105 pounds. How many cups? We're going to set up a proportion that looks like this. And you can see where it comes from. 3 pounds of beef, 2 cups of water, 105 pounds of beef. We don't know how much water. Now, I want to be clear. There are a number of different ways to solve this problem. I'm showing you one way. Okay? So, how to solve a proportion. I also forgot to tell you, if at any point you want to pause this video to take some more notes for yourself, go for it. The easiest, simplest way I know to solve a proportion, guys, is to do what we call cross multiply. We're going to simply diagonally multiply. We're going to do 3 times x and 2 times 105, which will look like this. And you got your equation. 3 times x, 2 times 105, 2 times 105, of course, is 2 times. Now algebra takes over. We're going to divide both sides by 3. You probably know that already. And after you divide both sides by 3, you're going to see that we got x equals 70. Now all we have to do is interpret what that answer means. Remember what we were looking for. We knew it was 105 pounds of beef, but we didn't know how many cups of water we need. So your answer might look something like this. 70 cups of water to make 105 pounds of ground beef. There you go. That's solving a basic proportion. Now you might ask yourself, how can I check to make sure I'm right? Well, if we just go back to our original proportion, now instead of x, I put 70 there. Now the question is, how do we know if 3/2 and 105/70 are the same number or same ratio? Well, there's a number of different ways. The simplest way I think right now, if you got your calculator in front of you, you take out your calculator and do the division. 3 divided by 2, 1.5. And then if I do 105 divided by 70, you get the same 1.5. That tells you that these 2 ratios are of equal value, which makes this what we call a true proportion, which means this would be our answer here. This video is going to be is a little longer than how my other videos are going to be because this is the first one. You'll now see on Google Classroom, there should be some worksheets for you to work on. That's it for video 1. I definitely think this is long enough. So I will chat with you guys later, and feel free to use these videos over and over again if you want, and I will talk to you guys later, okay?